Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for our Teen Hormones and Emotions class. You're going to be hearing from three of us. Myself, I'm Tina Ciesla. I've raised two girls, age 21 and 25. And then Allie has a boy and a girl at home. Her girl is a teenager. And then we've got Amanda Friedel, who will be joining us. And she has 22 children. So she's raised quite a few teens with and has experienced lots of things that we have dealt with over the years for teens and hormones and their emotions. And so Allie has created this a wonderful slideshow. We invite you to be able to use and share this, but please stay on till after the recording because we're going to have some fun recipes and Q&A time. Just in case that we miss some of your questions in the chat, be sure and use the chat feature and ask your questions there. We'll get to those after the recording stops. Okay, let's go. All right, who's got teens experiencing some negative things that could be hormone related? We're talking things like acne, irregular or painful cycles, emotional swings, poor food habits, problems eliminating, and sleep issues. We're going to help you understand how all of these things could be rooted in hormone issues. As we talk through these problems and these experiences, we're talking about your surface level things. We are not doctors. We are not nurses. We are not going to treat or diagnose or prescribe for your kids. If you're having some more than surface level issues with any of these things, then we invite you to speak with your healthcare provider, hopefully a naturopath or somebody like that that's going to help you with some of these things. But we feel like what we're going to share here is really going to help address some of these things. Okay.
We'll say that we are well researched though.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, so we've got some triggers that can be leading to these issues. And this is really just a short list. We kept going on and on and on with things that could be a part of the problem. And so we want to bring to your attention exposure to endocrine disruptors. You might have heard the term xenoestrogens. That's XENO estrogens. It's all one word. These are hormone disrupting chemicals that are found in everyday life. You see them in personal care products, food, beverages. You see them in your cleaning products, your detergents, all kinds of ways, right? We get inundated with these endocrine disruptors. And as a healthcare practitioner, I see these things on health scans all the time on people of all ages. But as our kids are looking at, fun, fragrant products that they may be buying at big box stores or at the mall, that's where a lot of our kids, especially the teen girls and boys that like to smell good at school, that's where they're getting a lot of these is through the fragrance. Poor nutrition. We have a lot to talk about with that particular topic. And we know that teens are really difficult sometimes to get them to eat the way that we want them to eat, right? Sometimes they're not even at home, so they're eating out. They may have jobs and they are not necessarily getting the nutrition that they need. Social pressures. This is a big topic. This could be anything from peer pressure to social pressure online to things that they may be seeing in the news. Where teens are looking at, hey, we're becoming adults and these things are really affecting us, and they may or may not be talking to you about them. Environmental stressors and fears. This could also be technology, TV, games, things that are putting thoughts and fears into your children and into your teens and causing them to think or feel a certain way. EMF pollution, that's electromagnetic frequency pollution. Think of anything that has power, anything that emits like a transponder signal, your cell phones, your Wi-Fi, your routers, your laptops, your tablets, your microwave. Everything in your home is putting out, that is electric, is putting out some sort of EMF pollution. And studies are showing more and more about the effects that it's causing. And endocrine disrupting is a huge topic there. Stimulants, things like artificial dyes and your flavors and caffeine, blue light. Blue light is a big thing. All of these stimulants that could be causing your children to have some dysregulation within the brain, but also in their sleep patterns and ultimately leading to hormone and emotional issues. Physical activity. This is a big one. Some teens, they're getting way too much physical activity. Some teens are getting not enough. So we always want to look at the physical activity and are they getting, the right amount? Late night eating and activities. We know that the kids love their phones, they love their devices, they love their games, but they also are being given so much homework. And then they're involved in after school activities. And so there are triggers that just really pile on responsibilities to teens that could be causing some impact in their hormones and emotions. All right, you want to take this one, Allie?
Sure. Okay. So in an ideal world, we are avoiding the added hormones in our meat and our dairy. So ideally, you're getting your hands on some grass-fed, pastured meats, dairy that is not high processed dairy. You want low pastured, no hormone dairy. And endocrine disruptors are massive and they are just huge. So like the quick catch all is fragrance. Anything with fragrance on it is bad. It's just bad. It's literally a dumping ground for chemicals. There are quite a few other chemicals that are not great, like sodium lauryl sulfate, the foaming agents you find in the shampoos, etc. But typically all of the ones that have SLS are also going to have fragrance. So if you just look for things that don't have fragrance in them, you're much better off. So, please, I recommend highly just detoxing your home from that. At least at home, you can control that, and having conversations with your kids about why it's not good for them and why there's a better way. Having these like really heart-to-heart conversations about it. So I wear this bracelet all the time. This is an EMF neutralizer. You can get these types of things on different places. I got this originally at a Weston A. Price conference, which they're amazing. But this is actually called Smart Dots is the one that I have. And I put it on all the kids' devices, all of our devices. I just think it's worthwhile to neutralize EMF as much as possible in your home. They usually last for years. So it's not like an investment you have to make again and again and again, usually. Overscheduling. So this is a huge thing. My daughter is a dancer, and if she was doing the amount of dance that they wanted her to do, she would be at the studio literally 7 days a week for 5 to 6 hours every day. And we sat down at the beginning of the school year and we had a conversation of, maybe we need to drop company ballet and just do company contemporary. And let's cut this back from 7 days a week to 4 days a week. And how can we squish your classes into the fewer amount of days? So it's less days at the studio. So you have some days that are just free days. And these are hard conversations depending on what activities your kids are in, but I'm giving you this as an example because this was a really big deal for us. I have had to really put the brakes on because all of these, people that want you to spend money with their, the dance studios, the sports teams, they want you to do all the things. But at some point we just have to say that is not healthy for my kid. My kid needs some time. Screen time overexposure. So I think I'm going to talk about this in a second on some tips for this, but we know this is like, we're not going to avoid screens. Like, let's just be real. We live in a modern world and we're not going to be able to avoid screens with our kids. If you try to, your kid is going to be left out. That's how they have a social life. I mean, I've had this conversation with my friends. It's like, I had a landline phone and I talked to my friends for hours a day. Well, they don't have landline phones. They FaceTime with each other. They Snapchat with each other. That's how they communicate. And we just have to take a deep breath and just know that the social, they are getting some good things out of this, right? So we have to find a balance of the good things and the not so good things. So, and then jumping to synthetic solutions. What do we mean by that? That means, okay, we have an issue. What's the synthetic quick fix that maybe comes in a tablet form that maybe we should not be jumping to? Is there a better way? Yes, thank you, Tina, in the chat. Is there a better way than jumping to a synthetic solution? So we're going to talk through some options there. All right, so it doesn't have to be overwhelming. There are some very simple ways to reduce all these types of burdens on our kids. Okay, what do you think, Amanda? I want to take over.
All right. Yeah, Amanda, you want to talk about sleep?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about sleep. And so I think one of the things that I currently have a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 13-year-old, is the expectation that teens need a lot of sleep, almost more than when they were like little toddlers and we were just dying for them to sleep, through the night or 12 hours or whatever. I just remember thinking, I put my kids down at 7:30, they'd wake up at 7:30 and I thought I was a good mom. And now I'm like talking to my teenagers, like, we need to get that sleep in the body. Your body uses that time, especially in this stage. And so we are a late family. We homeschool. We start later in the day. We are up late. We enjoy that family time at night. It's still really like anything you can get before midnight is so crucial because it helps your organs heal. So I'm always like trying to get them to go to bed a little earlier. You can. So I have a gamer kiddo, and at different times, as he's done things, we've had to like reset his schedule. And I just want to throw out to you that melatonin, which is in both Sleep Essence and ImmuPro, can be used, but try and use melatonin sparingly. You don't want the body to become dependent on it. We use a lot of oils in our house. And so this is a list of the things that the three of us just like immediately we could just rattle off. My personal favorite, Sleepy Eyes and Every Diffuser. I know it's labeled for kiddos. It's just my absolute favorite. The Calm CBD, or even just the regular CBD in general. And that new study on Ningxia Red talked about how it helps you get better sleep and longer sleep. But one of the things I love to do is unwind before night. And my kiddos know, like we keep them in a box in our bedroom, and we keep a box down here as well, that an unwind just helps you relax. It's got that magnesium and so many other good ingredients. We're not going to do. Get that Wi-Fi off a bit. Try and get the screen shut off. Get the brain to be able to settle down. You want to reduce your light exposure. One great thing about all of Young Living's diffusers that have those color settings is you can go to red. And red is a really good color setting. That's why like hotel lights are in red, is because it doesn't interrupt your sleep cycle. Oops. And lastly, encourage napping when they're tired. Oh, discourage late night eating. Go ahead.
I wanted to jump in really fast on the unwind. Sorry that I clicked the wrong button. I'm learning that not only does it help kiddos unwind and adults and sleep, but it helps with overactive brains during the daytime. So if you've got a kid who needs some calmness, some focus during school, giving them unwind at night is good for them the next day too. Sorry, just needed to jump in and say that.
I want to jump in too on this sleep, because we did teach a sleep class a couple of weeks ago, but I recently went through a sleep study. So if you have a teen that has some sleep disorders, maybe sleep apnea or snoring, maybe check into those sleep studies for them as well. Sleep disorders are not just for adults and older people. Even babies have sleep apnea. So you might want to address that with proper breathing, because we want to make sure that we're oxygenating the body at night while you're sleeping. Okay, let's talk about food and nutrition. I'm going to cover the supplementation, then we'll toss it over to Allie. So with nutrition, we talked about this kind of in the intro. Teens are teens, right? They're picky. They've kind of established what they are, and they're not going to eat. We're way past the finish your plate stage, right? We are dealing with teens that are in and out of the house. They may be in co-op classes. They may be in pre-college classes. They may have jobs. So they're out and about. There are some great supplements, and I am going to defer to Allie for a master formula study. She's got the stats on this. It's a fantastic factual study that was taken place by Dr. Dan Purser. You want to cover that?
Yes, I'm happy to. So I just learned about this study literally on Sunday, and my mind was blown about this. So Dr. Dan Purser, if you don't know him, he is a hormone MD, like he's an MD. He specializes in hormones, and he is adamant about naturally supporting hormones. And he actually is the one who co-developed Progessence Plus with Gary Young, which we'll talk about Progessence in just a bit here. But he did a study where he took 4,000 women, actually all of them were Young Living members. And then he selected 1,000 of them from that 4,000 group, randomly selected them. And he tested all their hormones, and about 85% of them were out of whack. Okay, just to give you like a baseline. Then he put them all on master formula for 100 days, and he retested them. And he found that 80% of that 1,000 women were back in normal range just from taking Master Formula, which I thought was so fantastic, because his point is, and his supposition was that we are nutrient and mineral deficient, and that is what causes our hormones to get out of whack in many cases. So, so he recommended doing 100 days of Master Formula and then going to 2 to 3 days a week at least. So just wanted to chime in on that. Okay.
I love that too, because my own personal naturopath has said that Master Formula is one of the most brilliantly designed all over nutrition packet. It's the little blue pack. It comes in a box of 30. It is out of stock right now, but it's coming back in stock next week. Buy more than one box, okay? But they're so potent that she has said to people too that you can get this, you can get a benefit from taking this every other day, even more than, you know, of course, it's better than not taking it at all, is what I'm trying to say. And of course, Life9 and Mighty Pro, those are our probiotics. Gut health is huge when we're talking about teens and nutrition and emotions. There's so much that the gut is relied upon for dopamine and serotonin production. Your gut is your second brain. And if they are not getting a good microbiome support, then Life9, if they will swallow capsules, I know there are some teens that are still like, oh, I'm not taking pills. Then the Mighty Pro is a good one because it's a powder, right? And then digestive enzymes, we highlighted 2 here, but there are 4 different kinds. We highlighted these because we feel like teens do come in contact with a lot of foods that are not so great as far as toxins are related. Also, your teens may have allergies. They may have sensitivities to certain food groups, and the Allerzyme is really good for that. But both of those are great at helping to break down food and receive the nutrients from the foods that they're eating and complete the digestive process. And of course, Ningxia Red. Have you noticed that Ningxia Red keeps showing up like on every slide? It's amazing. It supports everything, right? We need our Ningxia Red, and kids love it. Teens love it. My daughter actually drank it when she was a collegiate, well, high school and college volleyball player. She used it instead of sports drinks. We'll talk about that in the next conversation. But Omega Gi's, healthy fats. The kids have got to have healthy fats for brain development. They have to have healthy fats for hormone development. And so they may not be eating an avocado a day or eating those nuts and seeds that are going to help them get that. So a couple of Omega Gi's in the morning and a couple in the evening is going to help with that.
And I just,
yeah, go ahead.
1 second on Omega Gi's. It's really a good formulation because it has the little fish. So it's like sardines, and I'm missing the other 2. You'll come to me in a minute. But those little baby fish, the small fish, are really, really good for brain health. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Oh, that's okay. All right. So amino wise, this is huge. You guys, so many of our kids are drinking power drinks, sports drinks. They're drinking, you know, the energy drinks, and then they're with the gut health, they may not be digesting their protein very well. And so they're lacking amino acids, and they get the amino acids and the muscle recovery through Amino Wise. This is great to put into their sports tumblers as they're heading off to dance or sports or whatever, to go into their water. And of course, Vitality Drops. I've got my Jade Lemonberry right here. We love the Vitality Drops to help get those minerals, those trying to think of the name and it just escaped me, but it helps your teens to drink more water as well. And I think that you could probably type that in the comments. Electrolytes, there, I knew it would come, you know, especially after an illness. We usually, in the past, we turned to sports drinks to replace the electrolytes. You can actually do the Vitality Drops in your water for that. I talked to a fellow grandmother the other day, and she is actually making popsicles for her grandchild using just filtered water and Vitality Drops. She uses the lavender lemonade and makes them in her own molds. And so it's a fun little treat, but they're getting that nutrition. And then multigreens. You guys, we are not getting enough greens, right? And our teens aren't as well. They're not eating their broccoli. They're not eating their salads. They're not getting that valuable green vegetable into their body. And multigreens has essential oils as well, and it's going to give them that nutrition that they may be missing from food. Okay, Allie, let's let you go over with the food here.
Yes. Okay. So if you've been around for a little while, this is going to be a repeat for you, but Sugars are not our friend. They just really aren't. Refined sugars are not good, and our kids are exposed to them all the time. And I'm going to just stop for 1 second and say the kids at this age, it's impossible to have full control, and that is what the teenage years are. This is the time when they are learning how to have control of their own lives and less input from their parents, etc. But you do control what you bring into your house, and you can control what is in your house. And hopefully they're eating most of their meals, or at least 2 meals a day at home. And so you can do this. You can teach them, right, of what makes them feel good and what makes them not feel so good. And my kids will say that all the time. It's like, I went a little hog wild when I was not here and I did not feel good. I don't like it, right? So reducing the sugars, the artificial dyes, the flavors, the preservatives, making sure that your meats are pastured if at all possible. I mean, look into co-ops in your area. You can get meats usually less expensive that way. Looking for grass-fed dairy if you have dairy in your home. If you have sliced meats, like sandwich meats that you put in sandwiches, please try to get ones that do not have nitrates in them. They even have them at Costco now. Sourdough bread, if you can, is much better than regular wheat or white bread. Einkorn products that we have with Young Living, yay, you can make your own. You can even, now with the berries back in stock as of today, you can mill your own bread. Protein shakes, we love Power Meal. Super high protein. My son loves Power Meal, and it's a great, like, easy, fast breakfast for him, or like a quick snack. My son is 13 now, and he is literally has a hollow leg. I cannot feed him enough food. So this is good. I'm like, like, he just needs something to fill his belly. It's at least he's getting nutrients that are decent before like the next feeding time. If you want to replace those sports drinks, Ningxia Nitro, regular Ningxia Zing are all great options. You can get some sparkling mineral water or seltzer water and put vitality drops in there, or essential oils in there. So many great other options. And thank you, Amanda, for all the comments there. Eggs and cottage cheese. Yes, all protein for these kids. So good for them. Okay. Should we talk about the hormone piece now? So I want to actually say something really fast. So I just went to a talk on Sunday, like I said, about hormones, and the Dr. Tom Reed is a leader with Young Living, and he was a surgeon for 40 years. And he made a comment at this class about how he would sit with these, especially OB-GYNs, and he would have that, have this conversation about all these women coming in with hormonal issues and all these emotional issues that were likely driven by their hormones being off. And so what does he give them, or what does the doctor give, the OB-GYN gives birth control pills, and they give psychiatric drugs because they're emotionally messed up. Often the psychiatric medications even before or instead of a birth control pill, which both have their own issues. But when the real issue was balancing their hormones, would have solved all those problems, right? So, and I was the same, Tina, but much younger, actually. And I had this conversation. I'll tell my story after. But so how can we balance our hormones naturally without needing to run to the doctor? And these hormones affect so many things in our body. They affect our sleep, they affect our emotions, they affect all the things, right? So first we got to get the bad stuff out, right? So removing the chemicals from the body care. Again, fragrance is literally an F word. It is like the worst word. It's horrible. Remove them from your body care, from the cleaning chemicals. Show your children other options to buy. Obviously, Young Living has tons of body care and cleaning options, but there are others out there if you can trust them. Just be careful of the greenwashing, because the words natural, the words organic, the words green are all just marketing terms. They literally have no teeth. So just make sure you are researching what the actual ingredients are in the products. If you have girls, I was telling that my daughter bought some tampons that said organic, and then she was smart enough to actually read the ingredients and was like, oh, this is a horrible chemical. And we realized that those were not good. So also things like your razor, they have those little strips in there, those little moisturizing strips, they're full of chemicals. You can just pop them out of the strip if your kiddos are shaving. So that's important too. Or grab them an electric razor. There's you can get an electric razor now for like $30. It's cheaper than mine, and it's less issues. So okay, so that's the removing the stuff. And then let's talk about balancing. So literally from birth till death, male, female, and even animals. Endoflex is amazing. In fact, I have a kitten. I put on Endoflex every single morning over my thyroid area, my throat and my lower back. And every morning he like literally jumps up and licks the Endoflex off my neck. I just figure his body knows he needs it. Like just showing you how powerful this oil is and is good for so many different humans and animals. Just have your children use it. I can't even explain how amazing it is to support the hormones and the adrenals and just your thyroid, all of the things. Juvaflex. Why is Juvaflex on here? So Juvaflex is an oil that was meant to help detoxify our liver. And teens are exposed to all kinds of things that toxify their livers. Also, anger is harbored in the liver. Do you have an angry teen? This is an oil that you should be looking at if you have an angry teen. You can make it very simple and just roll it on their feet. What I do is I put Endoflex, Juvaflex, and Thieves in one bottle, and I make them put it on their feet every day. It just kill all the birds with one stone. Yes, purification is good for that too. Okay, and now Progestin Plus. This is really one of the only things that Young Living has that is specifically produced for just women after they start cycling. So from the time a girl starts having her cycle until she is no longer in this world, Progestin Plus is super helpful for almost all women. I highly recommend you start to watch some videos about muscle testing, and I'll help you figure out how much you might need of Progestin Plus. I personally do that with myself every day, but start with one or two drops. It's just really, really like a godsend, and I'll tell some stories after we're done recording. All right, if your kiddo is having symptoms, a girl, of cycling issues. So think things like discomfort in her abdomen, lots of anger before her cycle starts, hormonal breakouts, those types of things, then a clary sage containing oil might be what they need until you can get everything else balanced. This is kind of the go-to when you're like in the crux of the situation and you just need to get out of that situation. Then clary sage is your oil. So Gary Young made a lot of different blends with clary sage for Mary because Mary didn't love the smell of clary sage. She just was getting sick of it. So like Tina was mentioning Dragon Time, my favorite is Lady Sclerol. It smells more like joy to me, so I like that one better. Pick one, if you get on the website and type in clary sage, it'll tell you all the blends with clary sage in it, and you can pick whichever one you so choose. And then boys, or even girls if needed, Idaho Blue Spruce is great for testosterone balancing. So if you have a boy who you feel like needs some more like oomph, then Idaho Blue Spruce might be your oil for your boy. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to whoever wants to take over.
How about Amanda? We haven't heard from Amanda in a minute.
Oh yeah. Well, and unfortunately, this is a topic I do know a lot about. So I have 22 kids and 21 of them are adopted. And heavy emotions is absolutely something we've dealt with for years and years. And so it exasperates during the teenage years in birth kids, as well as adopted kids, as well as our kids, especially. I feel like 2023, these people who are teenagers right now, they're coming out of some of the toughest times we as adults have ever faced. And we're asking them to handle these really big things and just get back to normal or not get back to normal, depending on your life. So you've got all of this kind of curled up together in these teenagers, and it's big. So what can help with it? Good nutrition, sleep, and hormone balancing, all are big helpers. And I feel like I come to the table, I've had kids on medications. In the past, I have experience on both sides of that. One of the biggest concerns to me, and my husband is a youth pastor, so we see lots of teenagers outside of our own home every single week. A huge side effect of what's happening with a lot of early medication is the extra things you deal with. So I actually had a kiddo on medication. I'm not saying you never, ever do. I'm saying this is an experience we had in our home before oils. And he just wept and wept and wept, and he couldn't control it. And it was very overwhelming. And it actually took what was his medication and what the issue was that he was being medicated for and made it exasperated it. So If you saw last week, research came out, I think the CDC did it. I'll try and find the study that we've read this week. 30% of teenage girls have thought about suicide in the last year. And these are girls as young as 13. And we know locally, this is a huge event, a huge impact. It is a huge side effect of behavioral medications to have suicidal thoughts, to go through lots of other pieces. So we're not saying medication's never your answer. We're saying there is something that we can bring to the table that can positively change what the brain is doing. And it's something to consider, hopefully before you get to that point along the journey. I remember the very first time a kid told me they were suicidal. And it's not something we can carry by ourselves. It's too heavy. It's like trying to pull a semi as a person. And so I want you to know that as a mom, I've been there. I've walked my kids through this, and I want you to know that I do wish I had essential oils. I do wish I had Young Living. I do wish I knew then what I know now about nutrition and all sorts of things that impact how we get to this heavy, heavy spot. Go ahead, Allie, to the next slide.
Do you want to talk about the limbic system at all? I know you were good about talking about how oils.
I did, and I think we have a couple of replays of a couple classes that we've done. So the limbic system is the part of the brain that's going to be controlling the emotions, and not just the emotions. The limbic system does so much more than that, because it controls a lot of the other systems that all speak together in the brain. When you just breathe in an essential oil, it is in your brain. This is why it's so important that today we're talking about Young Living. We're Young Living people because we've seen the difference it makes when you use a pure essential oil. When you're breathing something in and it can cross the blood-brain barrier, you don't want any of that artificial stuff in there. You don't want any fragrance. You don't want any piece where you're thinking something else could be getting in and impeding the ability of the essential oils to do the work that they're designed to do in your brain. And once you get in, sorry, you threw me for a little loop. I was going to pull it up. You also do a really good job with this. So if you want to take back, once you breathe it in, it starts telling the limbic system, it can change your mood literally in a heartbeat. So I went through a big loss. My kids did too. But one of the things I know is that when I start getting really, really overwhelmed with my emotions, Peace and Calming is my oil, and it can literally, within just a breathing in and a breathing out, it can change my mood. That's how fast inhalation of an essential oil can work. And I feel like one of the things I love is that our essential oils can be different. What works for me might not be the oil that works for you or your children, but it is absolutely crucial how fast it gets in there. Allie, I don't have the wording exactly.
You did it. You covered it great.
I do want to go here. I'm gonna tell you a story. So I got into oils for Peace and Calming, not for me, for my kids who knew it would be my lifeline 10 years later. And my kiddo could smell the oil coming, and my kiddo did not like the oil. And so one of the things I learned really quick is that if I put 4 or 5 drops of orange in my hand, it kind of covered the smell of whatever I was going with. So as we move in here to oils that support emotions, I want to tell you, no matter where you're at today, if you have already started with Young Living, our starter bundle oils, I am so thankful we have starter bundles. If I'd never had a starter bundle, I would have never tried Valor. I would have never tried Stress Away. Look at the choices, and we don't even have lavender there, which is, now that I think about it, like, how do we miss lavender? Like, here we have right in the starter kit, Stress Away, which just has Copaiba, and it just settles you down, and it has so much good in it. Valor, which just grounds you. Peace and Calming, I call it like manna oil. Like, I would get into a spot where I couldn't even, and Peace and Calming is just my oil. So like, breathe it in and then wipe it on all over. Citrus Fresh or lemon, those citruses are so uplifting. And I have orange listed. Citrus Fresh would have worked the exact same in that situation. And then frankincense, whenever I get thoughts that are really overwhelming and I just can't get past them, I set a timer on my phone, and every hour I just breathe in frankincense. Do you know how long a bottle of frankincense will last you if you're just breathing it in? So I know that we are going to move on to a lot of other oil things, and we've done lots of other classes on oils and some of the supplements that support our emotions. But if you are watching this video and you haven't yet started, the starter bundle is the absolute best way to do it. And you get a diffuser. You can be changing those emotions. I get up in the morning, we put peppermint and citrus fresh. They're both in the starter bundle, right in that diffuser. We're alert and we're happy starting our day. We're going to bed at night, it's lavender. In the middle of the afternoon, it's probably peace and calming. So this is a very normal thing that we're still using to support our emotions every single day, just right there from the starter kit. But again, I love orange if you have to add one. Oh, Kid Power. I do love Kid Power. So read the comments, tree oils, so many good ones. So Release is just a really powerful oil. If you ever have a kiddo, and I can't be the only mom who's just bottling up something, Epsom salt bath and some Release, or even a foot soak with some, and let them go cry it out. It is good and healing to release that emotion. And it's not serving them. That's what I always say. Is this helping you get to where you want to be? Is this serving you to hold on to this? Because those kids are bottling up an awful lot of emotion. Cedarwood, transformation. We have so many great oils. And so I'll pass it back to you. This was not my slide, but I am just 100% sold on using those oils and letting the kids pick what speaks to them. I have a kiddo, I came down one day and I'm like, what's that smell? I recognize that smell. And I let my kiddos start the diffuser, and it was Endoflex. And if you have I was like, you know it, but it's in the wrong place because it's now in your entire living room, and you know the smell. And all of a sudden I'm having the conversation, whether they are toddlers or teenagers, they need that Endoflex, and his body recognized it. So put your oils out in front of your kiddos and let them pick what helps them emotionally. Go ahead, Allie.
I have a funny story to tell, because these emotions do work so well. I had one of my daughters wanted a new outfit. You know how girls are with their clothes. She was about 14. She wanted to go to the mall. I have to have a new outfit. Like, it was just going to be the problem that solved, the thing that solved all her problems. And so I took her to the mall. We went to all our favorite stores and nothing worked. Nothing looked good. Nothing felt good. It was wham, 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 wham. You know how they are, girls, right? And I knew she was hormonal. I knew it was probably close to her cycle, but I said, you know what, we're just leaving the mall. So we left the mall. We came home. I put her hand on the hand cradle for the Zyto, and she had all kind of markers out of range. Most of them were endocrine system, and she had one oil that balanced it, and it was Sacred Release, which is found in the Freedom Release kit. So we included these bundles here because there are some oils that may show up for your kids here and there that you might not have them because you haven't invested in some of these kits. These bundles are incredible. The Feelings kit, the Freedom Release kit, Freedom Sleep kit, the Reconnect kit, so many things. And we can answer questions and give tips on how to use these kits and these bundles. But the emotions are a true thing for our kids. And I tell you, Sacred Release is, or Divine Release is, when I read about it, said to help reset someone and bring them back to their gentle self. And that's exactly what I needed from my daughter. And she inhaled it. We had a new kid and it was great. But, as a daughter, I know when my parents didn't know much, they didn't know what we know now. And for sure, I didn't know when I was raising my kids what I know now. But there's things that we say like, stop crying before I give you something to cry about. I mean, have you ever heard that? Like, from your parents? I did. Allie's like, no, I've never done that. But no, I heard it from my mom. I heard it from my dad, especially, because we weren't allowed to express our emotions. And so I love that Amanda said, let them go through it, let them experience these emotions and let them out, let them release, because that just becomes pent up negative emotions that cause problems later. All right. So you want to talk about this QR code, Allie?
Yes. So we talked about a lot of things in a very short amount of time. If you are already a Young Living member, this should take you straight to your account to log in. This is just a wish list that we put together for teens. It's very long. You don't need them all. Pick and choose. If you're brand new, reach out to the person who sent you here and make sure that you are signing up with their member number so that you can make sure that you have all the support you need, all the hand holding. So please make sure that you are working with the person who has been helping you, because they will continue to help you. And I know that we have a million resources between all of us. So please make sure that you tap into all those resources. You will not be alone. This is a beautiful community of people who help each other. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording. Here.